Right. So what you are those who are following us the previous shows that we're doing. It was mainly centered around we said Kubakwashe, how how he got to be the man who is today. Some of the deals that took place, some of the things that the government of Zimbabwe had to do, and things to do with our monies was how the money was changing hands, how empires were built, etc., how the Mutaba Fund came to existence, all those we had a conversation around that. So we are continuing, ladies and gentlemen, with this, with the conversation. And today, we are having this conversation, and the title is Chiwenga and Mnangagwa. So Chiwenga v Mnangagwa Cold War. It has been termed a Cold War. Whatever it is, that is going on, it has been termed a Cold War. And there's a conversation once again with our lovely, Chennai. Chennai, how you doing? Welcome to Space.
Thank you, Uncle Jed.
Mm.
Yeah,
Those
it's
of you,
it's a no marathon.
let me give you your props. Those of you guys, who do not know Chennai, Chennai is what can I say? How can I best put it? Chennai is a fundi, a human rights defender. Uh she I want to believe you're an opinionist as well, because you sort of give it uh, as you see it, and you are knowledgeable when it comes to economics, when it comes to finance. You have been involved in different conferences, workshops. You've attended so many of these, and I believe there's some that you have actually arranged yourselves to help people understand some of the things that will be happening in the world that we are living in. So I'm talking of an individual here. He has got a pretty very good portfolio, and it's pretty good. When I look at her and when I look at some of the work that she does, I'm like, okay, there is a sister who has done it. Chennai, how are you?
Tichotara Chennai in India. There's another Chennai on the space.
I believe you're the one that I'm talking to, right now.
Thank you so much.
Mm.
I receive all the titles. Thank you. Hopefully they'll come to pass one day.
I hear you, yeah. But anyway, how you doing?
I'm doing okay under the circumstances.
Mm,
I
mm,
must say I take no pleasure at all in doing all these researches. I am just as gobsmacked
mm,
and astounded as the next person and saddened as well. So yeah.
mm.
So it's a hard one.
Yeah, yeah. Because when you talk about research, I do a lot of research myself, both academically and if I am going to be tackling a certain topic, be it on a space. There are times whereby I have to engross myself in a lot of work, research, immerse myself, in there to try and understand what it is, that is going. So I do understand, the toll that can have on an individual, especially when you're trying to understand things that is got written evidence, because some of it might be so much, and you want to weave through all these laws and laws of data for you to get to understand what those that are behind the production of that data meant to say, pertaining to a certain phenomenon. So I do understand you, right there. And today we are going to be talking about the Cold War. It's like, what is he on about now? Come on now. Are you taking us back to Russia and the US and the West? Is this the time?
Kuseka zvenu chega muZimbabwe imomo tipoti imomo tiri kutotsva chicold war.
People say we can't really anymore. But I mean, what did you mean by that?
I mean, there is this thing has been going on for quite some time.
Right.
When you look at the aspects of what constitutes a war, a cold war,
Hmm.
right, is it might not be as loud and bloody as whatever, but trust me, under the surface, things are happening. People are dying. People are taking territory from each other.
Mm.
There's a lot happening under the surface, and this is not something that has just happened overnight or over a year or a couple of years. It has been architectured, over the last 2 decades, really. Is brought us. We have seen we are in a situation where people, you say coup in Zimbabwe, people think of the 2017 coup, but a lot has happened since. A lot of other kind of mini coups have happened since, and what I'm going to try and attempt to do today
Hmm.
is to really paint that picture of what is happening in our Zimbabwe. And the point about it, right? What I'm hoping, because sometimes the thing about, you mentioned about doing research, that we do a lot of research, and trust me, like, the hours have gone in, guys. So it's so painful sometimes when I write and then, like, hardly anyone is interacting, because literally, like, last week, Uncle Jed, I said to you, just wait,
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm still working on it.
Mm.
It really does take hours and hours of research and double checking, and then you have your own questions, you come back to it, you find out, you learn more and you learn more, and so
Mm.
it's a continual learning curve. And even sometimes, when we get to the end and people ask me questions, someone can even ask a question that I didn't think about when I was doing the research and also consulting with the people that I was consulting, that I think, actually, yeah, that is something that I need to go away and think about. And funny enough, I know I mentioned to you earlier, we did another space where we were talking about the command agriculture.
Absolutely.
And I think some of the regime kind of sympathizing people were asking questions. And I actually, out of that questioning and that line of thought, came further thinking. So sometimes the right questions may even come from the wrong
I
people,
want
so to
to.
speak, but it does generate. And because I am naturally a very curious person, I
Mm.
will, at work, people say I'm like a dog with a bone, like I want to get to where the mongo is. I will
Absolutely.
keep at it until I do. So yeah, so I thank everybody for all the questions that come through respectfully, and is good for us to sharpen each other in that way.
Right.
Knowledge is power, as they say. So
Right.
hopefully we all walk away from this space knowing something that we didn't know before. But
Absolutely.
more importantly,
Hmm.
what is happening now
Hmm.
politically, some of the answers, hopefully, are what I have to say and spell out today.
Right. Brilliant. So what I want to try what I want us to try and do is probably spend this first hour delving into the stuff and the material that you have prepared for us,
Mhm.
and then we spend the next hour responding to questions that people might be having pertaining to the information that you would have unloaded.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Right. So we are talking about sort of a war to the finishing line in terms of control of resources in Zimbabwe between the two factions. Because when we started, this, like, the last, on the first show, when we did this, and then and then at the end of that, you were like, oh, we do, the next one. I was like, she's actually, doubling down. I was like, maybe it was just going to be a one off and stuff like that. And I'm like, she's actually, doubling down. She's bringing in, so there is a build up, that is, happening here. We are starting from this point, we are connecting to this point, and we are now connecting, to this point. So when we are looking at what you're terming, the Cold War, I believe this is in reference to the control of the minerals, right?
This is in reference to the control of Zimbabwe,
Or Zimbabwe,
the power
right?
games. I think when I think Sentry Vakanyora a document that they called, is it Shell and Power Games or something?
Mm-hmm.
These are games. These are power games that are happening. It's about self-preservation of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So and the idea of minerals, yes, I will talk about minerals. Yes, I will talk about oil. Some of these things we've talked about before. But what I'm going to try and do today now is to calibrate everything into a single storyline
Right.
that will show you some of the games that have happened and how the consolidation of power is always what is at stake. That is the game, the checkers game that is being played in Zimbabwe is about power. And and sometimes that power is derived from wealth,
Mm-hmm.
which is generally most of that's the biggest kingpin. Is I've said before in earlier spaces, anemari DM Kuru when it comes to the ZANU PF, power hunger games, or anevan.
Right.
You see, so it's like if I don't have the people, I will keep the money and the resources. That's where my power will come from. And so this is the issue here. These are the hunger games that are happening in Zimbabwe. And so, let me know when you're good for
No,
me
no,
to
no.
start, and I will
I'm
try and
good. I'm good. Tell us your
okay.
story. Tell us, the
Okay.
story. Yes.
So the first part of the story where I want us to start off is I want us to take a step back to Chiadzwa. And so Chiadzwa, so what happens in Chiadzwa is I'm taking us way back to the beginning, So around between 2001 and 2004, there's a great big discovery that, probably I think is coined as one of the largest diamond deposits in possibly globally, like one of, not the, but one of the larger ones, shall we say. This is a discovery that is made by ACR, Africa Consolidated Resources. And so what is happening is the locals, the artisanal miners, which, is not for all intents and purposes, is not totally illegal in Zimbabwe for artisanal mining, which is why 60% of our gold production is from the artisanal miners. They are doing what they're doing, Magweja, Makorokoza, they're discovering the gold. 2006, the Zimbabwe government then starts to see, good, we can't let external people tell us and start to get influence, so that they start to monitor what is happening in Chiadzwa. So they then decide to, around 2008, allow the military to move in, right? So the military moves into Chiadzwa, and they start what they call Operation Akudzokwi.
Right.
Operation Akudzokwi 2008 is a bloodshed. Hundreds of local people are killed by the military. This is documented by the Human Rights Watch.
Right.
They civilians are shot.
I hope nobody has called you. Right. Okay. Okay.
Plundered.
Yeah. I lost you, for a minute.
So,
So civilians were shot.
oh, sorry.
Yes. So civilians are
Oh,
shot.
oh yes.
Yes.
So we have, and it's called Operation Akudzokwi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where this is how the military start to encroach and to take over the running of Chiadzwa.
Right.
Now, this presence is still there today,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I've sent, maybe later, just so we don't break the
Yes.
presentation, I've got audios I don't know if Farai has joined. Farai Magu, he has audios, and I have gone as far as saying to him, "Can I speak to a witness?" And
Hmm.
I've spoken to witnesses who are, these we're talking about 2 to 3 months old testimonies of people who
Recent.
say kuti
So
vanhu vanoenda
so
hakudzokwi.
so these are recent, testimonies.
Recent testimonies of people, because it is still under military and security, shall we call it security guard
Right.
now.
Hmm.
So what happens is, Magweja, the locals will turn up, ukabatwa urimo imomo mucamp around munda machona where you can mine for diamonds, is death.
Death.
They hurt you so bad that you are not likely to return home,
Wow.
right? That is the situation, unless you are prepared to maybe bribe the guards or something like that. You are not allowed to come back alive.
And this is being kept under wraps. Wow. Oh, come on.
Sorry, I think maybe you lost
Yeah,
a phone
y-
call.
yeah, I'm kind
I
of.
wasn't looking at my phone. I was concentrating on talking.
Yeah. No,
So
no. I just posed the question that, so this is happening and it's being kept under wraps.
it's still happening today, yeah. And I will, at the end of this, I will share the audio. I
Right.
have permission to share a testimony of what is going on there. I've tried to get the bits where there are no names.
Right. Okay.
But we have some people who have managed to escape, but they are very few. But Vakawanda, they are missing. People go there, they don't come back. And hanzi wakafamba munhu machona during the day unosangana nemabhonzo evanhu, mapfupa evanhu, vanhu vanorumwa nembwa, vanhu vanotandaniswa kusvika vawira. I think there's a river until they drown in there, right? This is happening in our Zimbabwe.
Like a Hunger Games, sort of thing whereby, whoever you come across, you kill.
Yeah, this is the Operation Agunzokwe.
Right.
So this is what it's called, and this exists today, right? So what then happens is 2008, military then they enter into, and I'm summarizing a lot here, into a 50-50 joint venture with China's AFEC. AFEC is private, but it also has the Chinese government, I believe, have got interest in that as well. So AFEC, which is a Chinese company, and the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, they go into a joint venture and they call it Angin Investments. Yeah.
Hmm.
And the Defense Forces, they use a front company called Matt Bronze Enterprise. Angin Investments, yopiwa 32 of the 175 mining blocks in Chiadzwa, some of the best, where it's easy to find the diamonds or whatever, like where the most what are deposits are found.
Hmm.
Yeah. They operate along other state linked outfits like Mbada Diamonds and Marange Resources, right? And this was the military's direct plug into the diamond billions. Yeah.
Right.
And who is at the helm of leading the army command at the time?
Right.
I'll let I'll let you guess,
Chiwenga.
Uncle Jay.
Chiwenga.
Chiwenga.
Okay.
Who is the Minister of Defense?
The Minister of Defense, back then,
And I go Google.
what period are we talking about here?
And I can have Google.
What period are we talking about?
Ndombokutenderayi kuti muende kuna Google.
Which year?
Tikutaura zvekunana 2009,
Okay, okay. All right.
10, 11.
Okay.
So whilst you're looking that up, yeah. So this is the first we see like military influence. Yeah, there no bata. I think Chinese company inonzi Moti Bakira, is there a military college motivakira parliament building, whatever. But there you go. Come and join with
In
us. 32.
in 2010, it was ED, Minister of Defense.
Okay. So moving on swiftly. So we are seeing the Diamond Brothers there in Chiadzwa. Vakabatana ne China. And it.
Hmm.
So this is happening. Another thing is happening in 2011. We're going to come back for kuningirini but ndodoti taona kuti ndozviri kuitika kudiamond handiti
Yes.
ngatichionai 2011.
Uh-huh.
I've talked about this before. I wish Twitter dai yanga ine yekuti people can put their hands up so I can see who's been listening.
Right.
But 2011,
Uh-huh.
when we have the Tagwire Noix deal, this is when he's given control of the oil pipeline.
Yes.
Yeah. So keep that in mind.
Hmm.
So these two things have happened: the Tagwire pipeline and the Chiadzwa diamond.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll come back. Let me finish off, or yeah, okay. Let's proceed. So what happens is, in terms of the diamond, zviri kufamba zvichidi, there's a global witness report that is then issued in 2012, which
Hmm.
actually highlights Kuti something up to the tune of $15 billion in diamond revenue through your royalties
Hmm.
has not been paid by outfields such as Anjin since they have taken over Kumarange. They've been given 32 of the 175 mining blocks. There's $15 billion missing. This is when Mugabe is then given that report. Mugabe is shocked. Where is 15 billion? $15 billion yazonyanya, and he has no idea. Kuti ku operation akudzoki kuri kurohwa mari dzakadaro.
Right.
Mugabe then, at that moment, he puts a lid on and he says there's no more private investment in diamonds. He then introduces the ZM, I think, was it called ZMDC at the time?
Hmm.
And
You have said it's called.
hello.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me? Sorry, panic call. Yanga Pinda.
All right. Please, people, they mustn't call you.
Ndawomboda
It's
kumufonera
very important that they stay clearance away from you.
exactly.
You see,
Chenai, sorry,
yeah,
just uri paongo chitaura na Google. So I just quickly read. Pane awataura ekurumwa nembwa. So I thought that was a bit random, but I've just read here saying, in Payakatanga operation Agudzoke, there were over 200 killings within 3 weeks, and medical
yeah.
staff reported treating numerous victims with dog bites injuries, a form of abuse allegedly inflicted by soldiers on detainees. So just to agree with what you actually said, the young Boni Shamsado, where is it coming from? But it's actually
And if zvichiri kuitika nhasi, I've actually sent you the audios, Titus, because obviously I'm using my phone, so I don't know. Maybe you can whip up your magic later and you can
Yeah,
play
if you've got another phone
some.
and you give more food, transfer it to another phone, and then you play it from there.
Yeah.
When we get to that stage.
Yeah. So we can come back to that one as well.
Hmm.
So what happens is ku Diamond zvobva zvanzi chimbomirai ndimugabe 15 billion yaenda kupi. Mugabe then decides, no, let's put a lid on this, all these investments. There's now only diamond will only be sold through the Zimbabwe mining diamond, the Zimbabwe, is it Z, anyway, that one, the
Z,
diamond mining
yeah,
company,
of course, I see.
ZMDC.
Which one is this? ZCDC. Yeah, is this one that you're talking about,
I think it was ZMDC before.
or
I'll look
ZMDC? Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the Zimbabwe mining,
So
whatever,
that
whatever.
there's a
Okay.
lid that's being put on that. In
Mm-hmm.
the meantime, yeah, this is what is happening in Diamond.
Right. Can people stop calling her? I think the trick to this is um you switch off Wi-Fi calls, right? You go on plane mode, activate the Wi-Fi, so that you
Yeah.
block all calls. But now there's a problem with WhatsApp now, because people can come through via WhatsApp. But anyway,
I
let's go.
I know we'll have to carry on. So what happens is we are now on the fuel pipeline deal. Fuel
Hmm.
pipeline deal is
Hmm.
happening during the GNU. Zimbabwe is on an economic recovery path.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There is then a plan happens where, for some bizarre reason,
Hmm.
Tagire is given the control of the pipeline. The
Right.
famous Noix deal that I talked about before, it's there on my tweets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I say this is bizarre because obviously you anticipate that we are in a season of, of kind of GNU government. We expect things to happen in a more transparent, more equitable way.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, this happens. Tagire is given the pipeline around the same time. I think maybe there's a decision that is made to say no. Whilst this guy is now controlling the pipeline, let's introduce a second pipeline, perhaps to make it slightly more competitive, introduce new players onto the scene. Um,
Is
you
this the
know,
one that was touted as coming from Botswana? Because this one was from the Mozambican side, right? And
yeah.
then
So this is the Royal Bafokeng Holdings and the
right.
mining oil and gas services, which are South African, I think. I'm not sure
Hmm.
about Bafokeng, but Mogs is South African. It's a South African entity.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the idea is that they should come and modernize the pipeline and build the second one. But by that time, Tagire has already got control of the pipeline.
Right.
So somebody, obviously, I want to you get 1 point for guessing who, the cabinet minister actually discovers and uses it to his advantage. Kuti Mog's name, Bafokeng Holdings, they had been allowed to build the second pipeline again without any transparency, I think, without any cabinet oversight. So he uses that, and the person that does that is Mnangagwa. He uses
Okay.
that and blocks that deal. Not only is the deal blocked, the NOIC board at that time is also fired.
Right.
So guess now who is then left as the man standing when it comes to fuel and oil pipeline in Zimbabwe.
Queen B.
Queen B vanosara vakachibata kuti dzvi.
Right.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate that I really feel almost like the rise and rise, because what happens is obviously after that, Tagre, or Queen B, he then goes into a joint venture with Trafigura, who pay him 100 million US dollars, it is reported. And that is when Sakunda Supplies is formed. Later, so it was renamed Kunzi Trafigura to
Hmm.
reflect the Trafigura presence.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because they then, I think they almost buy out Tagiri of that deal, or something happens. But traffic Sakunda Supplies
So this is
becomes
this is all
Trafigura.
happening. This is all happening during the GNU era.
Okay, so it was initiated and formed during the GNU era.
Hmm.
Yeah. The Tagire was given that special agreement with the state oil company in 2011.
Right.
Yeah, so we've spoken about this particular deal, I think, before, but that's when it happened. And what then happened to the commander in chief? Anga akambobata kuDiamond, anga nechi. He almost at that point had two important allies: the military ku diamond,
Mm-hmm.
and Tagwire ku oil.
Oil.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So and really, and I think Sakunda from there, I think they were just became unstoppable, you know. That 100 million really was a game changer in the way of the net worth and what they were able to do then from that point. Tinosasara tapinda mucommand, we talked about command agriculture last time and how much money was made by Tagwire. By then it was billions. Point was Mnangagwa.
Right.
Mnangagwa ensured Kuditagwire became the only one in charge of the pipeline access and the import rights, but off the back of an award that was given during the GNU. So once Zadai saw, we get to 2015, 2016, Mugabe is like, no, China, no more diamonds, rapera. And I was got Magatura 15 billion. I think it was maybe at that time that there was really a stalemate between the military and Mugabe. Yeah.
Right.
Because actually, if you follow the trail, what happens in terms of AFEC, who was the other Chinese partner together with the military, is they really suffered when that was shut down financially. So
What
you
is
go
that?
into you go into their books, you look at what was happening. You know, they started, they were no longer liquid, they were almost filing for bankruptcy.
Wow.
So bad was it that the Chinese government actually said, our the loan we were going to give you for Wange Unit 7 and 8, we are going to stop disbursements when Mugabe plugged their mining interests.
Oh, what was this now a tit for tat?
It was now a real bilateral stalemate. So
Right.
there was China, there was the military, and the military with Mnangagwa plus China, vita stalemate, man.
Mm-hmm.
Na Mugabe. Isusu meanwhile tiri kubikwa tichiudzwa zveaice cream yo zvakazodini.
Is this why it became easier? Is this why it became easier for ED to unlock, this Wange 7-8, when he came
So
into power?
EG, I've actually done a podcast with Bob Amsterdam on this. So what actually happens is, if you follow ED, when the coup happened, his first foreign trip was to China.
Uh-huh.
And when he gets to China, ED makuita kuti ndijambe jambe
No, 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 no. Let's go back.
but Mina,
Just
it's okay.
just keep.
It's okay. So
All
when he
right.
gets to China, he not only he reinstates the Anjin, deal, the
Mm-hmm.
presents they're given back. There are 32 units. I think there was even talk of them being extended,
Mm-hmm.
and for sure the loan for Wange was also then at that point reinstated, but also on the provisor that we use a Chinese contractor to deliver Wange 7 and 8. And I
Right.
mean, it was a really bad deal, but we'll talk about that one another day. But that's what happened, right?
Mm.
But in the meantime, right, this guy, Awanaguti, is got two best friends, the military and Tagire.
Mm-hmm.
But the risk is always, if they had to do a coup on someone else to put you on power, the same people can do the same thing again, right?
Yes.
So what do? You make sure that they don't have money anymore.
You starve them of that, resource.
You have to starve them off the money and then starve them off their friends.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So what happens then? We now have what I think has been referred to like a new business empire. There's a Century report where they introduce a character, Anonzi Zunaid Moti.
Oh, it's Morty, yes.
Yeah.
From South Africa,
So,
right?
yeah. So Moti is a businessman in Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
He, at this point, has got a lot of interest in Chrome around the area of Kokune Great Dyke. His company is called, I think it's called Afro Chrome at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So Moti Aonot, there's now a change in guard. He decides, good, let me to keep my interest sweet. I'm going to give 1 million US dollars to Mnangagwa, and then I'll give 2 million US dollars to Chiwenga. And this is something, these are reports that were done by the Century.
Oh, yes.
They
Yeah, I
followed the
remember, that
trail,
one. Yeah, I
they
remember,
saw the
yes.
transfers, and I will post you the link. And
Mm.
this is in that arrow.
No, 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 I remember that one
Yeah.
because the 1 million went to Pickup Farm.
Eh, eh.
Ah, right, right, right.
Yeah, so Precap Farm receives 1 million. And then another company that is linked to Chiwenga's family, Cosmotex,
Mm.
Yokuwa, 2 million US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Transfers from African Chrome Fields. And it.
Yes.
And so Montano to know Danchingover Power Mariama Investments, Nama loans, this is what he says, though nobody really can say. There's no evidence to that effect. And it.
Mm-hmm.
But what then happens is ava veku wana mari ku traffic gura 100 million. Wenda kuna moti, voti moti wewe ndokupa 120 million US dollars
For
for your company.
right.
Yeah. So Tagire takes over Moti's ACF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In fact, Tagire initially is given a 30% stake for 120 US million. So this is now them making some big, big moves in mining. Yeah.
Right.
Tichibva ipapo, we go into Great Dyke. So one of Chiwenga's big investments, his cash cow at
Mm-hmm.
that point, is him
Mm-hmm.
and his generals, including, I think SB Moyo was central to forming all this. They own 50% of Great Dyke investment. Their shell
Right.
company, the Penny East Mining. Yeah.
Was was owning that.
Yeah.
Right.
But manje, 2019,
Mm-hmm.
yanga yakaoma. If you remember, Nuta.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. 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 And the trip to China.
Pakagwariwa. So while someone is out of the picture not being well, these guys are making power moves. If you remember, I told you after making money from Command Agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
Tagire through his company Landela Mining bought a stake in Great Dyke Investments.
Yes.
He got 50% of the military stake for 220 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, Tagre starts to take over Great Dyke. The other 50% was owned by a Russian company. That Russian company also starts to exit quietly around that time. So suddenly, Penn East Mining, which was kind of a military cash cow,
Mm-hmm.
the military loses control of that. So
Right.
much so that, unfortunately, the other person who had a bigger voice when it came to Great Dyke Investment and its shareholding, General S.B. Moy,
Guys.
dies.
Right.
And if you try and look at even when the Century did the report and then they came up with Fimbi, just trying to even understand Kuvimba, say, is obviously somebody trying to hide something. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was an economic coup.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And even the same thing when you now go back to Chiadzwa, is that, 32 out of, is it 100 something, 70 something
Yeah,
years?
understand that too.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's significant, but it's not that significant. Not when you have money and you're dealing with chaos.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah. One. And then the second is the way then that in that time we saw a lot of restructuring of the security sector.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were moved out, some were retired, some were repositioned, others died
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
with COVID. Others died under the circumstances was everybody was still asking questions,
Mm.
without my autopsy or anything like that. But that's what happened. Yeah.
Right.
So by that time, you're seeing Kuti Penn East still had some, but Mutapa, Pakazoya Mutapa, it just did a great big mop up of everything. And then Mnangagwa says, no, you cannot, there's no one else who can see what is happening in Mutapa besides me. Another thing to mention about Moti is I think for nearly 5 years, ED Junior was working for him
Okay. Okay.
as a consultant. Apparently they found my receipts, 10,000, I think $10,000 a month was being paid to him.
Right.
You find Kuti now, you go to Chiadzwa, there's a lot of Mnangagwa influence through his sons. A lot of our mining, local mining, because quite a lot of it still is got foreign interest.
Mm-hmm.
But where we have local interest, majority of the time, is linked to the Mnangagwa stronghold, to his factions, to his children, his relatives, and so on and so forth. So this is the Cold War of losing the mining interests, the political interests, because then even by the time we get into 2023, Munangagwa by that time he's already started having his own parallel structures. Ana chakadaro for ED, chakazodaiso for ED, vanoshadabura for ED, vanoshamba for ED, chingodaro. So you find Kuti, this was, and the person who was financing all that was Kubakwake. You look at FAS,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
which we can cover another time. FAS was financed by Kubakwake. This is documented and recorded in the public domain.
Right.
And all this to retain one man's interest. And so what is now happening with the other side is this kind of Cold War has left somebody else now with they don't have any more money, they don't have as much interest or influence over the military. And so obviously now, what's left is you and I, is the people. But I'm
So,
telling you now, this is the same modus operandi that was used in the 2017 coup, and it does not have the interest of the Zimbabwean people at heart. Yeah.
so all these boss moves, that were being made was to strip one side of the needed, resource that complement power, which is money, and then the other one is entrenching itself with power and money as well. So this one, even though there was that element of power that still existed, with them, but without the money, they can't make any boss moves.
They can't make any boss moves to reclaim their wealth and to sell. You see, what happens is, you know, and I would like to think this because obviously I've never walked in those shoes, but
Mhm.
kana iwo uchiziva kuti une mhosva dzako, The worst thing that can happen to you is to fall from grace, is to come out of power.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because wakabva pauri papapo, mosva hairovi. And I think this is what hangs over the heads of these people. That's why the power games never stop. So because they want to make sure that they remain in a position where they are never held accountable for what they did or what they are doing,
Right.
above all else. And I think the level of self-preservation might even extend to their dynasty, because they're kind of thinking, okay, if I exit or whatever, you know and these things happen, and it's all, maybe there is a thinking of, I also need to preserve my dynasty,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Because you kind of think like, okay, like my guy, like you're almost 90, you know what I mean? Like, even if we take you to prison, like, they'll just say the guy is too old. But it's about preserving, making sure that you do not fall from grace, and the dynasty remains, and that is the preservation. And both sides, that is the thing I believe they fight for most. Because vane mhosva, and mhosva dzavo idzodzo ndo dzinoita kuti varambe vachiita these power games. Otherwise, you know what I mean, like,
Mm.
you'd kind of stop, like you have $100 million in the bank. Why are you staying in a situation where uri kurwara nezvisingazikanwi, uchigara uri kuchina, womboenda kupi we uchiaseswa, wozodii, mombobhomana makagara muri kubulawayo kuya mustadium, mombokandana mabombs, mozodii, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
I would like to think at some point, you would just want to choose peace. But because these guys are criminals, they have, there is always something hanging over their heads. And that is the thing that they run away from. Those are the ghosts that they run away from the most. And they use these games of power, of wealth, and just persistent oppression, to stay in a position where they never have to be held accountable.
Wow. Yeah, you've unloaded in your summary, you've unloaded so much.
Very, very.
There was something that was running in my mind. Which I was like, okay, let me leave it, let me leave it, let me leave it, and then I'll ask you. Um, okay. I don't know. Is it everything that you wanted to separate this now?
You can speak, and then I'll just go through my notes to make sure, because I was now just a little bit all over the place, just to make sure that I haven't left anything. So
Yes, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because I know, there was a point where I kind of, took you off your trail and took you, somewhere, and you were in the process of giving us, something. Because the question, that I had was, on the issue of the role that the GNU played, because in the first interview, in the first broadcast, that we have, or in the first person that we had, you spoke about Queen Bee being a person who was thrust into something as a cover up or something to be a front, but he ended up becoming too big even for his handlers, such a way that he became the financier of the handlers. Which means that he was now this gigantic figure now, from one who was being used as a front, as a decoy or as a front, to one who then amassed so much, such that he became a top player or a kingmaker. Because if you're talking about his influence in 2018 elections, his influence in 2023 elections, I think there was there was the last time that me and Zeti we were, yeah, having this conversation about him having financed, the purchase of vehicles, etc., that were then used after, the coup, taking the fleet from, so many vehicles to over 400, of them, and signaling that, you've got an important player that has come into the fray. You've got, this player who is now detecting things. You've got, this player with financial muscle that can be, relied, upon. And when you're looking at this, and from the standpoint, me looking at what you have presented, today, and looking at everything, I'm looking at, the rise of a phoenix. No, I can't call it a phoenix, because the phoenix would have, been, incinerated, and then it rises, from the ashes. Because, this individual, I didn't even know about his existence until, these past, elections. Then when, began to be talking about, this individual pertaining to his influence, even though I knew that, there was this individual, who existed. But in terms of, what is amassed in the influence that is now having, etc., etc., he is now, this individual who can, I think, who can send, tremors and shivers down people's spine each time, that his name is mentioned when it comes to money and power. And you've got now this individual right at the forefront, this individual being fought left, right, and center. Last week or the week before, we were talking about his ascendance with the ZANU PF, Central Committee, and there seemed to be a pushback from members of the, of ZANU PF, not wanting him to be there, and the etc and etc. And that leaves me wondering whether, these guys, they actually realize the power that this individual has, and what his power and the money that he has as a resource can do in terms of the power matrix, in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, so I did do a bit of research as to, I don't, it's hard, isn't it, to use the word rise, because rise normally is like, wow, something rises, it's supposed to be beautiful.
Exactly.
You know, we have someone who is graduating as, like, our
Mm,
national thief,
mm,
when we when we need to takanzi uyai makanzi nyika dzese one, imwe neimwe nyika uyai nembavha yenyu yemunyika menyu munonouya nani anyway. So from my research, right, I can find him around 2005 with Sagunda Holdings. Yeah,
mhm,
which is a fuel trading and distribution company. There's not much. It's a relatively small importer. There are others that are much bigger in the market. It's a small enterprise, right? And the fuel sector at that point, is not as haphazard as it became, sort of, I think, from about 2008 in pakangotanga nyaya currency crisis kunyanyisa.
mhm,
So 2007 to 2009, he grows. Yeah.
mhm,
Now, what happens with this growth is, there is, that was the time paitwa zvema foreign currency allocations nema fuel import licenses under Gono in the RBZ.
mhm,
Yeah. So then you just needed, ZANU PF has always been about patronage politics. So whomever was his connection then enabled him to get the foreign currency allocations, which then meant, he made a profit when he was then importing the fuel, and he was also able to be given some licenses. So my guess is this is when he probably started fronting somebody or working together with somebody at this point, because it is reported that the growth between 2007 and 2009 was quite rapid. But what then became the thing is the securing of the exclusive access to the Beira Harare fuel pipeline
mhm,
through a deal with the National Oil Infrastructure Company of Zimbabwe. Yeah. That laid a foundation for his kind of monopoly, or because once you have that much control over one thing, that is oil, that everybody is, you're basically like, everyone is looking to you, while Okato battered the whole country at ransom. Yeah. And I don't know why that was done that way. um I'd like to think that there were opportunities that could have been used to stop it, because you know um the opposition was in charge both of energy and of finance.
finance. So
So,
so so in finance we had
yeah,
the minister Tendai Biti, and then in energy
yeah,
we had uh
I think it was
Mr.
Mangoma.
Mangoma, and
Um, yeah. So
right.
I don't know. That was kind of like the early Christmas gift for Mnangagwa. So
Right.
by
But
the
was
time,
there ever at one point that I know a lot was happening during the GNU. Was there ever, according to your research,
Mhm.
was there ever a point where it was like, okay, what it was like, a moment like this, what have we done moment?
I have no idea. I guess would have to bring, because I know when you to be fair to Tendai Biti, since he has condemned that deal.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
but
is what
obviously
I'm
this
talking
has
about.
been,
Say, come on now, what has happened here? Right. I know
yeah,
he's on record condemning that deal.
yeah. But I don't know how it was allowed to pass in the first place, right? I don't know. I know that there was no tender process, there was no anything like this. But then what was, I guess, the plan, it seems, was to have a second pipeline, which was the one with from Moggs and Royal Bafokeng. But again, that was then thwarted on the basis that it had been done without any cabinet oversight, right? So
Right.
again, I'm not sure as to the intricacies of what the hell was going on. I don't know. And by the time we got to 2013, that's when Traffic Gura has moved in. Over the next 2030, over the next 6 years, they pay Tagire 100 million or so US dollars for for his position in that. And then Sakunda Supplies becomes Trafigura Zimbabwe, and so on and so forth, right? So I don't know. It was a series of like, what the hell's, you know, what happened? And I personally would want to one day ask and find out, like, what am I missing? Because I have looked at this, and that's why when I looked at it the first time, I kind of skimmed over that fact because I really was trying to understand. But so far, from my research, I cannot say why that happened.
Mm, right. Okay.
And that is crucial, because you actually see Mnangagwa actively now campaigning kuti pasauya anyone else. So ndiye akatoita kuti Tagire arambe akachibata pepe. So if anything, if they were not friends before, they were friends at that point.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then that money then gave him the ability to start maneuvering in mining, especially, and buying, and then getting the position that he got with the command agriculture by that time. His guy is kind of, in charge. 2016, 2017, zvanga zvatoendwa.
Yeah. Right. So okay. Since our time is now 6 past 8, can we right? Can we play the audio?
Okay, so I'll give you a bit of
Uh huh.
context. So I wanted, Titus, are you on the?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so I'll tell you in a minute which one you should play, because I know I've sent you two.
Yeah, while you are just looking at that, it is very interesting. This, especially the Motita Gray link that you came out with, and just how complicated, the movement of money, all guys, this investment, it's quite astonishing, really. Could you get that Tagore transferring hundreds of millions of rands into the the ACF? You said ACF. What is it called? Yeah,
Eh, the Afrochrome,
through it's just complex financial channels that they use. Then immediately after you get that AICF transferring money through, from what, from your article, they said they transferred a lot of money through another entity, to different Zimbabwean companies that are all linked to the current premiers. So the movement of money there is just so complex, and so for an ordinary person, I think some of these will just were coming in as just investment, but they've been extracting quite a lot if you actually dig deep into it. So it is quite interesting, this Moti and Kudas.
Yeah, because on that one, I've actually been sent a request for comment. It was a media, request for comment
Mhm.
to the Multi group, and where they asked questions to Kuti, what services did Emerson Mnangagwa Jr. provide as a consultant to ACF, and when did he stop providing service to the Multi group? And the answer that they provided was he provided services which included actively liaising with ACF stakeholders and assisted with the ACF's communication strategy. The consulting period ended in August 2019. Can you please provide the reason for the payments or gifts to the following politically connected enterprise and individuals in 2017 and 2018? Precab Enterprise in December 2017. You can see answer under 21. I don't know if you know that answer, but they were inquiring about the payments. These are the payments that Chennai referred to. That payments were made to Precap, and then there was also payment made to Cosmotex Investment, which I would believe is the general one. And Chennai. And then
AND.
yes, and then there's a payment that was also made to Spartan Security in July 2018, and then another payment was made to Superman 10 in July 2018. But under Superman 10 says the payment to AB Communication Private Limited in terms of property transaction, where a multi-group enterprise would acquire a 50% interest in a property of approximately 33,000 square meters located in Sunway City, Harare. So I think maybe this is something to do with buying a property or a land that acquire 50% in Sunway City, Harare, and the property covered 33,000 square meters. Yeah, whatever.
But yeah,
Titus,
yes.
if you can play. So, like I said, these audios, the first one is actually Farai who was giving me a summary. So what happened is I was approached by a journalist for comment about about a murder, like recently, like maybe 3 months ago, and I was like, what are they talking about? So I went to Farai. I was like, what is this murder? What's going on? And apparently, in this particular situation, is there were two, the guys Vanga Vakawanda, and these two guys started running away like they were friends, right? So they were running together away from the security guys.
Mhm.
And one of them, he escaped. So it's very rare to find someone who manages to actually escape. And so he gave a detailed account of what happened. Unfortunately, because in his account he does say names, so I can't share it. But I'm sharing with you Farai's account where he explains. That's the first one I've sent you. Then the second one is a witness account, but if you can just start it from halfway, because I think the preliminary bits you might you might I don't think it's necessary, but if you start it from about halfway. But Farai's Magu's account is what I'm saying. Yeah, and I have asked him to, if I can share, so you can play that. That's the first one on the audios I've sent you.
Okay, so he's going to start with the one, with the Farai one, and then on the second one, you just have to go halfway and start from there.
Yeah, I'm gonna start listening to it. I just need to double check that there
Right.
aren't
So yeah. So
too
whilst
many
it's playing, the
distractions.
first one, you can then scry through that one and get to where you're supposed to the
Yeah,
like the timing in terms of minutes where it's supposed to
yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. Okay, let me do that.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Okay, that's cool. So I think I'll play this Farai one. I'll just play
Okay.
it for a sec. Ango, let me know if it's clear, the audio. Has been going on.
Yes, it
This
is. It is.
police acknowledgement comes after a statement that we released
You
last
can
week.
start it from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's clear, but start it from the beginning.
Okay. One sec. Let me just see my volume is really up. Yes, good to reconnect. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Chennai. Yes, good to reconnect. Issue has been going on. This police acknowledgement comes after a statement that we released last week regarding the murder in artisanal miners in Marange, especially by security personnel of the Zimbabwe Consolidated Diamond Companies at CDC. So it has been government policy in Marange that anyone anobatwa achimina ikoko, you must exert the maximum harm possible, and no one will be held accountable. Saka, ever since Pagatanga Operation Agudzokwe in November 2008, the modus operandi has been to torture and even to kill. No one is arrested for that. So normally what the pani dam remove at CDC, vanu miner close to the dam. If you go there, wabadara, maari kumagad, they will escort you. If you try to sneak in without paying them, that's when trouble arises. So when they catch you, they try to make an example of you. Saka some of them vanogombedzerwa like nembwa dzinenge dziri kana 10 dogs vachisairirwa mudam zvokuti if a person cannot swim they can die. Others they hide in the dam. Ndichakutumira some audio ungonzwako about that. Vamwe vacho vanohida mudam, but the audio haina issue yandikutaura, but nevertheless the audio is helpful for you to really understand what I'm talking about. So vanosairira imbwa dzakawanda, vanohendikafa munhu anorumwa kusvika asina kana hembe nembwa. So what triggered this current issue is about a guy in Abelo Tindindi.
Can you stop there, please? Stop, please.
Okay, Mof,
Yeah,
can you stop there?
yeah.
So you can do another one. The other one I've sent you from 0.33.
Okay. Let me just mute and check it. 0.33. 1 sec. Okay, this one is a bit of low volume, but I'll play it now. Tiri kurohwa zvakanyanyisisa mumbada wemachiadzwa esi ivo vacho vari kutogwejawo magadhi acho, vanga vatocherawo vatogwejawo kudaidzawo makomuzi avo veitodai, isi angabata gweja vari kuuraya, vari kupondesesa. Amwe acho ari kukandwa madhemu, amwe acho unozongoona nzvimbo dzimwe dzacho dzeitonhuhwa uzoti hapana mombe imbori muno, usati vanhu kutofawo, munotoshaya vanhu. Tona vamwe tisingazivi kuti vanhu vacho havatoripo kuti vapenyu here, mamwe magweja ataimbogweja nawo, amwe atori missing, zvousingatozivi kuti vanhu ava esi missing yacho anonga aenda kumunda last sine kuziva wakaenda kumunda manheru, si munhu haumuoni kudzokwa kana kudini. Zvakaoma chirando, tibatsirei chirando, tibatsirei. Tiri kuitwa nhapwa munyika mwedu, kuita nhapwa, tiri
kushungurudzwa.
All right. So that's the audio from the Magweja guy talking of how some people are gone missing, and some they don't even know where they are. So that's the one Chennai I played. You wanted.
Right. So those are the two audios, right?
Yes, those are the two audios
Mm.
that I'll tell you when I was sent that. This is what is happening today. It's not a 10 years ago situation. Yeah, I was sent these on towards the end or beginning of March.
Right. So yeah, so it's fair. So it's this year basically. Because
Yeah.
if you're saying that this is different from what used to happen 10 years ago, right? So it is indicative of something that is resurfaced, something that has been restarted. Maybe
I
20
mean, I
years.
don't know if it ever stopped, to be honest. I don't
Right.
know whether it has ever stopped. I think if you listen to what Farah is saying, is it started when with Operation Akuzokwi,
Hmm.
and Operation Akuzokwi was 2008.
Yeah, people are actually saying what is that operation has been, it started, way back then.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So the people of the locals, they have seen it all, and they have really seen it all, and at the moment, Chitara Sagut, what is the makeup of who owns what? There's still obviously military influence. There's now Mutapa influence through Kuvimba mining. So and there's also other proxy mining
Hmm.
companies that have an interest in Chiadzwa that are connected to the to the politically elite, shall we call them that?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, tonight, what I want us, to do is I want to take questions, from the floor, and
Mm-hmm.
then you tell me, when you are good, because it's now, 19 past. So, we had
Yeah.
said, I don't know, can we go until 10?
No,
No. Okay. What?
I no, I cannot do that.
Okay. What time can we go
We're
up
at
to?
some, I am aiming to stop at 9. So
Okay.
if people
Okay.
can keep their
Right.
questions
Yeah.
like
Okay.
very brief.
Yeah. Okay.
I will preempt a question I'm asked all the time
Mm-hmm.
around what can
Your
we
source.
do,
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. All right.
what is happening,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And
No,
there
I no,
is
I was hoping that maybe you can give that, when you give your departing,
okay,
yes. Yeah.
okay, that's
Yeah, your
fine.
final
Okay,
word. So I just want people,
okay.
to really focus on what has been presented. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I want us to this is what I want to happen. Come in and ask a question. Munhu anyatanga mbotipa nhoroondo, unfortunately I am going to drop you. Unongeka kana usasataura. Tiri kungoda mubvunzo chete, mubvunzo kungopinda. Chenai unogara kupi? Full stop. Chenai nhasi wadyei? Full stop. Zvadopera. Zvokuti tozoita nhoroondo dzokudai, I'm not entertaining any nhoroondo, because we've got literally 30 minutes, to do this, or maybe 35 minutes, and then I'll give you the final 5 minutes to give your departing, words, and then I'll shut this thing down. Kana ndikuzochivhura futi tochivhura totanga another discussion that can be linked into this, but I want to keep this as pure as much as possible. Saka ndozvatira kuita. Saka mof tofunga nemazvinzwa, just one question, not even two, one question at a time, and we move on. Hakuna kunzombotizo, oh, I've got two questions and I want to, no, 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 just come in with your question, ask your question, and we drop you.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yes.
if it's a one question, guys, I hope you prepare a good question.
Yes.
Chichanga the best if you had more than one. Just try and
Hmm.
package it in one. Then we can continue like that. All right. So Angwa, I think
Okay,
there's one I
ndaingotaura
was
bijana
asking.
kuti ini ndasinauya nequestion chandainchida kwakuri kuplayera imwe audio yekuti munyatsokunzwa kwazvakatangira nekwazvinoenda, but if it is about the questions I do not mind dropping, but I really want everyone to hear this audio. This audio was sent to me in 2020 or 2019. It is about
Right.
the cartel, how it operates and everything, but it's up to you. I am not forcing anybody. Thank you.
No, no. When we do open, the next, bit, and then we can start, with that. Right. So is there any ngilani apha yenye amaphinza nayo move? I wasn't
Fine.
looking at.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So, champion, since you are not asking a question at the moment, so it was Bazi, then Mofiam Kono, then Signoro in that order.
Right. Okay, guys. Batsi, if you can pose the question, please.
No, thank you, Uncle Jed. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Oh man, and I didn't move from some really, but it's
No, no, no,
okay.
no. One.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because my bata nye GNU ko. Ndoko nanda kwira kuti ayo I need more. GNU ko ayo system of na kudzoka futi. And akunyatso na ko ndakuti mudzoke futi kunyaya GNU because kunenge kwanga kuchinakidza. But anyway, I something happened. I think it's either earlier this year. Panyane Wange 7 and 8. There was rumors Yekuti the loan wasn't being satisfied anymore. And I think Ipakambo is kwa look baget. And it's it. And ne norondo yatawa na sister wangu ndafara na makubata iko. My question is actually quite quickly. Well, Diani Angachi Sabadara loan kuma China anymore. Based on the story that you were telling us, Kuti, it was ED who was running with that. Why would they stop satisfying that loan? That led to the China Gdwambo Varambo is a lock package. It was just as simple as that. But next time, please, GNU. It's okay,
Right.
sister.
Zoka. Rachena, do you want to respond to that?
I do. So I have done a long time ago a series on the Zimbabwe debt and the debt crisis and what happens. So one of the things that have happened with the Wange loan is that it is resource backed, right? So there was a clause in it that said if Zimbabwe cannot repay the loan at some point, that we owe them like our assets, right? So what you will find is that it's a very complex arrangement in terms of Wange, the loan that we owe to China. We're very bad at paying our loans anyway because we do not get a return on that debt. So what happens is, we would have borrowed, I think, I can't remember when it was first signed off, like 2010 or something, and then 2014, I think that's when the disbursements started coming through. But Wange 7 and 8 is not finished. So we cannot get any return from, even though takazopiwa mari yacho kare kare hatisatapedza newange 7 and 8 yeah. So it's now so complicated. We owe some money. We at the same time we have given them some of our assets. And what they've said now is that they're going to stop because they are not happy with how we were purchasing in terms of the equipments that were being used for that development. They were not happy with the prices that we were paying and so on. So China was like, we can't just keep giving you more money when we are not happy with the way that that money is being spent. We're not happy with the prices that are being paid. I think this is what you're referring to when it was paused. But long before that, we are already in a debt that we are not paying. We are so behind in our payments such that there is an aspect of our resources that have now been attached because of that loan.
Right. Thank you very much. Can we have Mofiam Kono, please? Can you ask your question, please?
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what is happening. I heard something about Chiadzwa, about the people who are good. What exactly is happening? Was in
Yeah.
What I okay. Chennai, can you briefly, just talk to that quick? Hans Quail, something like
Operation
what is asking?
Aguzokwe.
Operation Aguzogwe.
Akudzokwi is saying kuti If you are an artisanal miner and you are found in that area without some kind of permission,
Hmm.
yeah, there is an instruction that was given in 2008. Kuti haudzoki.
Right.
They will deal with you
Right.
there, whether unorumwa nembwa, unotandaniswa, unoseedzerwa mudhemu, wogogariswa imomo kusvika wanyura, whether ucharohwa. But the idea is you should never, either you don't go back to your village alive or you never come back to that place again once you have been, because they wanted to make sure that they control the mining and they get a commission. Kana uri an artisanal miner, wotombotanga wavapawo something. I mean, when if we are to go back to the way it was happening in 2008, it was that I believe that process gave birth to the whole Mashurugwi cartels and what have you, because vanga vakuita zvekuti, okay, maybe military inoita an arrangement with a group of locals, one's all right, maybe you are now allowed. But obviously now what happens is you then have to sell what you get to whomever is in the military. Akupai allowed yacho. But somebody else might say in isusu tipe isusu tokutengeserai even cheaper. Zvichingoenda zvakadaro, so it's just a mess. It's a chaotic, dangerous mess.
Right. Okay. I'm hopeful. I mean, Senor, do you want to come
The
through?
last one is Senor, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yamashisha. Revolutionary greetings. Chennai, I'm not going to ask you where you are, as said by Yamashisha, but I still want to know your interest and the end game objective of this. Well, on point, what you said, I've been saying this for quite some time. Question I want to ask: this well orchestrated the crime syndicate, deceiving people, there's politics. Has it not compromised the Indigenization Act after the marriage of Sakunda with the traffic guru? And if you, as I learn, if you don't mind, share who really traffic guru is globally. I close my mic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senor. Chennai, if you can quiet.
So one of the questions in terms of who Traffic Gura is and what their global interest and what happened next, if I can just revert back to that one. But I think what you're saying in the question you've asked around the Indigenization Act, kana neni ndakatoifungawo act iyoyo kuti because it seems immediately it's let's ask the military, let's go and get a Chinese partner. The oil whatever monopoly person, let me go and get a Singapore partner. The military in Great Dyke, let me go and get a Russia partner. So it really has been bastardized from the onset, right? The intentions of it might have been good, but for all intents and purposes, it really has been bastardized, to no end. Kuti now it's about, so even if you look at the mining
Let's
interests
bring
now,
about
you look at
about 20
chrome,
minutes. 20 minutes.
you look at lithium. That's actually something I missed to talk about. Was after taking over chrome, getting into platinum, Tagre went into lithium with a new set of partners that were no longer the military. And if you remember, there was a freeze. Yakambonzi Chimbomirai were not doing any more exports of lithium. We're stopping everything. And what that did was they cleared out even local indigenous interests in lithium. They were removed until they architectured something that gave them, gave them the power and control in the lithium mining sector. So yeah, it really has been quite. I don't believe it's indigenization when it's only one or two people that from the indigenous economy that are involved in those deals. If it's indigenization, we need at least more of us that are participating and actively gaining, an income and a profit from our key mining sectors. But unfortunately for us, it's just a very few elite, less than 2% of the people, if 1%, if at all. It's just a few individuals you can count on one hand probably that have got an indigenous interest in these key sectors.
All right. No, thanks for that, Chennai. Right. Okay. I think let's go to Baba Juju.
Okay, thank you. My question is simple. You've done a lot of research on General Chiwenga. So my question is, can you classify General Chiwenga as a Chigananda? Thank you.
Right. Muvunzo Chennai.
Okay, so the term Chigananda, unfortunately, is not a term that I use in my vocabulary. So I can't even say specifically what it means. But if you're asking me if Chiwenga is part or was part of the looting trough, then my answer is absolutely yes, according to the evidence.
Right. I think that's direct, short, and sweet. So let's go to Afri Consolidated. Afri
Yeah, yeah.
Consolidated.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi.
Go ahead, answer. Ask your question.
Yeah. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Great. So I just wanted to understand from Chennai Mfunzongwa now complicated. The people that are being targeted, is it a general? Because I'm trying to relate to the title. Could maybe this is like infighting? Are they targeting certain people like Zvandakanzwati? This guy, this boy Chatunga, was also having problems with illegal panels at his farm, and he was asking for help. So I just wanted to know, is this Hakudzokwi targeting people, as in '08 it was mostly like an effort to target opposition members, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's it.
So Hakuzokwi is, I think, confined to Chiadzwa. That's where it was. Operation Hakuzokwi was mainly meant for Chiadzwa, because when you look at our Zimbabwe, the Mining Act, it does allow for artisanal mining. It does allow, you if you look at, I think it's over 60% of our official gold production is done by artisanal miners. So for all intents and purposes, this is why I say like artisanal mining is not illegal in Zimbabwe. In fact, if anything, it's encouraged, much against, what global best practice. But that is what we encourage in Zimbabwe, unfortunately, because it means that there's no transparency, there's no traceability, like we saw with the gold mafia. So they kind of, the powers that be prefer it that way. So Hakudzoki was specifically coined for Chiadzwa.
All right. Chennai, are you done on this one?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe I've
Okay.
answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I think just to emphasize, I don't think it will be like specifically oppositions, but more of a power move that this is their territory, this is their area. Nobody goes or does any mining without without them agreeing to do so. So I think it was more broad. But thank you anyway. So to end up, kuna, I think it's political philosophy.
Okay, thank you, Brother Titus. Thank you, Uncle Jeds, and thank you, Chinai. So my question is, as we all know that there's this cartel movement in Zimbabwe, there's this type of corrupt deals that are happening, and also these type of terms are now kudzokwi kwanamsanditevera, which dehumanize people, and we 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 thought we had an opposition that was going to destroy or that was going to stop this movement of cartels. So, through your investigations, have you come along uh, any observation of opposition officials being linked to these cartels, being linked to these tagires? So, I don't know. Do you have any, you know, observation which connect the opposition and these mafias, the cartels?
Okay, so two things for me. So directly, if I had made any observations, like I said, about the 2011 deals, I would have mentioned it. So you don't have to worry about that. So as far as I'm aware, I do not have any specific names at this point. However, what I want to say is, because we are dealing with a regime that is bent on self preservation, that is bent on, you find that our institutions that should be safeguarding our public interests, really, Havana, they do not have a say in hell. They cannot really do anything about it. So I mean, I looked at people, for example, who say, well, you go into parliament, people, you make a lot of noise in parliament. But I'm telling you now, like, there's no, I tried to see, like, is there a point, is there a dip in Tagwire, right? If we say, okay, maybe akatanga kuzonyanyisa kuba muna 2011, right? Akazotenga kunyanyisa, pane here patinoona a dip patinoti apa akambochila because zvanga zvapresa, kana kuti parliament was too hot on him, or this person said this, and so no, he continues to entrench and extend and grow, massively, in spite of the fact that someone might mention his name in parliament, in spite of the fact that there's been a report, because there is that level of institutional capture, iripo, like yakanyanyisa, to that extent. So where we are saying, to be fair to opposition, is right. It doesn't matter. Like, insofar as they can operate within the realms of the Zimbabwe state institutions, right? There is not a lot, to be fair, because you go to parliament. We have seen the reports out of parliament. We have seen in the last space, somebody was talking about the report that was done on command agriculture. The report, of course, is good. We have these things on record, but beyond that, there is nothing that has happened. Nothing. Havana azvitombo vavhundudzikana. Yeah, so there's that. We have to also be true honest with ourselves, so that as we look for solutions, we know kuti totangira papi. There's no point looking at parliament, because there's nothing that is going to come out of there. There's no point looking at our local courts, because they are compromised. We all know that by now. So yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, our time is now 20:39, almost 20:40, which means we've got about roughly 15 minutes max. So the people, that are on the platform, right now, I've got 4 people. So I'm going to probably make sure that we get you guys through in the next 15 minutes. You pose your questions, and then I'll give Chennai the last 5 minutes to talk to us about the most common question that is posed, to her before we bring this, to a close. So Mofu, who was coming on next?
Yeah, I think Papa Smiths
Okay.
was the next one, then Reynard after that.
Right. So Papa Smith and Reynard, if you can come through, in that order. So Papa, please go ahead first.
Yeah, good evening, good evening. Thank you, Uncle. My sister Chennai, I have got only one question. Ndoda kukubvunzai. Pavanhu vese vamataura ava, vanatagurei, Chiwenga and Mnangagwa and Queen B. I just want to know kuti uyu Wikineli Chivayo anopinda papi. How is he linked to everything? Because you touched about vamwe vese ava, but then I'm just interested nenyaya yaWikineli Chivayo kuti iye anopinda papi, anogwana papi apa. Thank you very much. That's my question.
Okay, so, and I will come to Wick Notifier in one of these sessions. So Wicknow is a convicted money launderer. Like, this is not Peter Jemakua. He served time in prison. When he came out last time, there was another case slapped on him. Yeah, money laundering. And unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he managed to make the right friends. He was, that case never really then went to trial. But his professional title is money launderer. He has gained that title by the fact that he is convicted and served time, and there is still some pending cases on him right now live in Zimbabwe. Ndo anogara pakambotaurwa naNick Mangwana kuti tazomubata chichichi. after, I think it was just after the coup. So he also made his moves, but he is an expert at moving money. So where potentially maybe you might not see him fronting the deals, whether it's in mining or whatever, pake paanozona zopinda chaipo chaipo ndepekuti ase pekugezesa mari kwatakaona gold mafia. Okay. Yeah, so you might see him, with other presidents in other countries, and you follow them, and you find kuti vamwe vacho vatori nemacases ku-international criminal court chaiko chaiko nenyaya dzekuba mari.
Ndingavunza hangu.
Right. Yes. Please go ahead, Reinhard.
Thank you very much. Chennai, hello, how are you? Munza, thank you. I mean, you've actually cleared one of the problems that I had about week now. Right. I want to ask something, Aman, because we're actually dealing with a very deep state here. Do you actually have a spider's web of all these these crimes pictorially? Because we need to know who the cartels are, what we are dealing with.
Yes, so there are some that have been put in the public domain as well. I have, yeah. So yeah, that exists.
So is it possible that we can get a chart actually, which is actually pictorially to say, okay, we can see where it's actually linked and say this one is moving, this one is done this. Because usually just to read it sometimes without actually pictorial, such cases are problematic a bit. You need to see the whole picture
It
saying
is a
this is
giant
that.
spider's web, you're right. And there have been some attempts. Some people have done this already. Some investigators have done this already. But yeah, I hear you. I will contribute my own to that as well. But there are some that exist.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Can I have Queenie? Queenie, do you want to come through?
Thank you, Sister Chennai. In your timeline, my mind is screaming. Solomon Juru, the retired general who died, must appear somewhere there because he had made a stakes in Chiadzwa. Did you skim over it? Did you see, or are you still going to look at that trail?
You know what? Now that you mentioned, I did come across some of those linkages. I just haven't covered them today because I was kind of focusing on some main characters, but I do have that in my research. I will pull it out. Who is talking? Sorry. I'll make sure to tag you.
His name,
Who asked the
yeah, his
question?
name is Queenie. Sorry, we had, thought, okay, we had removed him, but I will send you,
Okay, if you
yes,
can
yeah,
send me his handle and
yeah, I'll
I
send you
will
his
tag
handle.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So quickly, can we go to Ndaba?
Oh, thank you, Uncle. Hello, Chennai.
Hello.
Uh, yes. Uh, my question is twofold, but let me summarize it to make it one. We see that in business, ZANU-PF factions are partners in crime. But when it comes to politics, they are fighting on clear factional lines. Do you think that the Chiwenga faction sees Mnangagwa as weak in protecting the loot, or Mnangagwa sees himself as the rightful person so that he recruits Takwirei to preserve power?
Please ask me again. I'm not quite getting your question.
I'm saying from your presentation, your research, it
Mm-hmm.
surfaces that these people are partners in crime. But when it comes to politics, they fight, as we know. What causes that fight? Is it that
Okay.
the other side sees itself as the rightful owner of preserving power, or it's just that they want to preserve the loot?
So, okay, so I have to disagree with you slightly. I don't think necessarily that there is this kind of partnership. I think it was there, maybe before 2011 when we're seeing the military and everyone is all hunky dory. But by the time we get and then we see kind of the coup was people protecting their interests, the military protecting their mining interests after Mugabe had made that no more privatization of the mining industry. And that's what that was about, really. So whether we can say it was a partnership, I think they can come together if it suits their self-interest. So if it suits my self-interest that I have to participate in a coup so that I retain my mining interest, then and I have to participate in a coup because I want to retain my oil and command agriculture interest. So therefore, let's work together and make it happen. Yeah. But when that happens, the idea of continuing with the track of self preservation continues, even if it means that I have to fight you, even though before we were kind of fighting together. There still is, the key objective is self preservation before anything else. So I will only work with you if it serves my interests. And when after we've worked together, because I've worked with you to serve my own interests, you are now an enemy. So I have to topple you. Whoever wins, and then they do this tug of war. And currently, at the moment, looking at consolidation of wealth and military influence, probably, and highly likely, 90% likely, is that Emerson Mnangagwa ndiye akachibata at the moment. You see, so I feel like it's a constant games of checkers of, who has the best cards at any one point, and the game carries on, it never stops.
Right. Thank you very much. Murimi Wanasi, do you want to come through with your question?
Yes, I just wanted to ask you, Kuti, zvinhu zvese izvi after tazvidiscussa, what is the end result? What do we
All
want to
right.
achieve?
If you stand by, she's going to talk about that in the last 5 minutes. So I will ask, she's going to cover that that question. I stopped there earlier on, but because I wanted to give that as the as the parting shot. So if you can just hold on to that, so that she will collectively respond, because so many people have asked that's the very same question. Right. Zimbabwe economic review. Do you want to come through?
What is their objective, and how different it is from the idea that it is out of collective interest, it is out of wanting to do something for the people of Zimbabwe, because it is not, right? So Jadaro, the second thing is, it is for us as Zimbabweans to realize, Kuti, our first fight is not a political fight. We cannot we cannot, as a people right now, Shikanzi, we are a general election, as long as we have these players that are trying to self-preserve and also have enforced institutional capture, because they are using our resources to do so. As long as that is in place, like, is a fait accompli. Like, there's no point doing it. There's no point going out and voting. There's no point even fighting about who is better than the other right now. Atina zera nayo fight yoyo. I always laugh. People say, "Oh, who's this? Who you are nani?" And then, like, so what? You can't vote for them still, right? This fight is about us citizens fighting and working hard to undo the institutional capture. And so we've been working as part of an organization called Zim for All Foundation. We've been fortunate enough to engage other experts, some who are Zimbabweans, some who are not Zimbabweans, and they have offered some advice as to how and which way we as citizens can proceed, so that we can bring a place, we can bring ourselves to a place where, we are free to decide for ourselves who we want to lead the country. At this point in time, we don't have that right yet. So, as a result of that, we are working on some things which I was hoping today we'd be able to disclose, but I've been advised not to disclose by the team, because there's one or two things that we need to be in place yet before that can happen. So, please watch the space um, and link up when the opportunity comes to do so, and we will be keeping you informed of what we believe the next stages should be. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. It's good. I'm encouraged even by people like what's his name, who was just talking about Wange, unit 7 and 8, and what have you, rightly or wrongly, but these are the conversations that we need to bring each other on the journey. Tinazowonesana factually kuti when it comes to the debt crisis, this is how we got here. A lot of our debt still lies on the shoulders of the same people that we've been talking about today. They are still the architects and the authors of the debt crisis. And it's actually estimated, Kuti, as a country, we have got at least 90 something years the way that we are going before we can even pay off our debt. So if we don't do something about it now, this is the gift that we leave for generations to come. So these are important conversations. That's why I'm happy to say to Zimbabwe Economic Review, as much as I don't agree with you, I will come back with a proper outline of what has happened, not what I believe to have happened, but what has happened, what the facts and the evidence say when it comes to Unit 7 and 8. I think that was the question that you asked me to answer, Uncle Jed.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So I hope you've covered what you wanted to say before I said, you say it at the end.
Yes, that
Okay.
is what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Right. No, 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 it's fine. Thank you very much, for this. I do appreciate you. Thank you for the time. So we are having another segment on Tuesday, and we will advertise, well in advance what we are going to be talking about sometime, this week, and it.
Okay, so sorry, Uncle Jed.
Mm.
Somebody asked me about traffic gura, and I just had to go and find in my notes specifically, because I think I mentioned already, Kuti Traffic Gura is a Singapore company, but they were asking for more details, and I said I would come back, and I'd like to do that now.
Now, okay, fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to kind of bring a close to that, because I don't think I'll be writing anything down with regards to traffic. So traffic gura is, at the moment, it was as far as Zimbabwe, the traffic gura, the Zimbabwe venture, was born out of Sakunda Supplies when they bought out the oil rights that were given to Tagre in 2011. Yeah. They have other interests, I think, globally. They are associated with high risk investments. So countries like, the DRC and places like this, where other investors might shun, because, it's a high risk investment area. So that's kind of where they tend to reside. Um, I'm trying to see what else is of interest. Yeah, so they do their core business, oil, gas, and metals. They are formidable in terms of their revenues, in the hundreds of billions. They have some interest in Angola, DRC, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe. So you can obviously, I'm sure anybody can guess what is the common factor with those countries. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there, insofar as just giving you an idea of who or what traffic guru are in general.
Right. So yeah, thank you very much, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this particular program. I said that I just want to keep it a max, 2 hours. But we've gone past that because of the extended uh, time that we have given to my brother, Zimbabwe economic, review. But we are going to come back again, on Tuesday. So keep an eye on the next, segment, on the next space that we are going to be delving more and more into this. And those that have got questions pertaining to this particular one, I can I ask you to send, those questions, to me, or you can send them direct to Chennai via a handle Zimbabwe Yawia. That's a handle. So you can inquire with her. But if it is something that you feel that we need to have a conversation on the program, just send me the questions. I'll put them together, and then I will see if I can arrange a particular session after we've done this and that. We sort of Chennai, I don't know, we sort of have maybe a particular a 1.5 hour program whereby it's just questions that would have arisen from the previous spaces that would have done, so that I give you enough ample time to engage with the questions that people have, and or those that would not have gotten the opportunity to ask these questions.
Yeah, I
Is it
think that's
something
a, I
that
think that's a
we?
good idea, because I do write down the questions. Everything I come back with is based on the questions that I would have been asked, right? Because
Yes,
really the point is, we're just trying to sharpen our knowledge as a people, and because that is a good place to pivot from.
absolutely. So I'll try and do that as well. So with any questions, please send them to me, or if you feel that your question is so pertinent that you need a response right there, I think Chennai DM is open for as long as you are civil in the DM. But anyway, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for the time that we've had. More for us. Any parting words?
Don't want to dilute it. It's really been good, but just FYI, Sakunda Holdings. Sakunda is actually a name from two. It's a name that came from two names. So Sandra and Kuda is something that I just got when I was reading, and Sakunda Holdings was born from their two initials. But no, thank you so much, and I again for today. Uncle, I don't want to dilute it, so yeah, you can do your thing.
Right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. From me, Titus and tonight, we are out. See you next time.